I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Beyond the Fear podcast, the place where y'all come for motivation, inspiration, uplifting, and an overall positive word. Today's episode, man, was inspired by an interesting conversation I was having with someone at work. And, we were just going back and forth, just talking about, everything that we have been going through over the past couple of months. And the topic of the conversation today is just how important it is to show up for yourself. And if you're someone who naturally, you just show up for other people, it's so easy to lose yourself or get lost in the shuffle. You know what I'm saying? When you're so concerned for other people, whether that's friends, family, coworkers, whatever, it's so easy to put yourself last. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy to put other people before you. Their situations, their problems, their finances, whatever it is that they're going through. It's so easy to put them first or put them above you. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? And you just forgetting that there's things that you need to take care of. There's things that you need to be doing for yourself. There are things that you need to be healing from, or whatever the case may be. And it's just so hard to show up for yourself when, what I'm saying, you have that mindset, or you've just been that person who's been there for other people. So we were kind of just going back and forth talking about that, like how important it is to show up for yourself, how important it is to be there for yourself, whether that's, what I'm saying, going to therapy, um, taking those mental days, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, self love, self care days, whatever they call them, all of those things are just so important to make sure that you show up for yourself. Because again, when you get so lost in taking care of other people, people get comfortable and start expecting you to take care of them, and they forget to ask you, hey, are you good? Are you okay? Thank you for everything that you've done for me, and I really do appreciate it. But man, are you good? Are you know what I'm saying? They forget to ask those questions because they get so comfortable, and it becomes such an expectation that you take care of them, that they forget, okay, you're a person too, and you need to be taken care of as well. So man, we just, like I said, we were just sitting there talking, and it's so important to take care of yourself. That's something that I'm learning. And I feel like that's one of the things, like with the boundaries, and with going to therapy, and just taking your mental health and your physical health and your spiritual health and your emotional health, taking all of those things seriously and taking all those things into account, because it's so important to show up for yourself. But like I said, when you're one of those people who just naturally, you want to help people, you hear somebody talking about a problem, you want to help them find the answer, you want to help them, figure out what it is that they're going through, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm one of those people who just want to help people. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I give the best information. I mean, the best advice. I'm not saying that I'm always right, but I'm always trying to help. I'm always trying to lift somebody's spirit. Like, I'm one of those people, I can't stand seeing somebody sad. You know what I'm saying? My natural instinct is gonna be like, "You good? Everything okay?" And I will sit or stand wherever we are for hours, listening to them vent about whatever it is that they're going through, and do my best to give advice if I can. That's just naturally me. And over the years, because of how I was brought up, I just kind of put my stuff, especially if it was like mental and emotional stuff that I was going through, I just kind of put my stuff to the side. I didn't really think about it, didn't focus on it, didn't pay too much attention to it, didn't worry about it. I just kind of, it'll figure itself out. If I leave it alone long enough, it'll figure itself out. So I did my best to push all of my problems and the things that I was going through, or the things that I was suffering with. I just did my best to push it to the back of my mind and focus on whatever it is, school, work, other friends, relationships, whatever was going on with other people, that had to help me not focus on my problems, my issues, the things that I should have been working on. And you know what I'm saying, you do it long enough that just becomes your life. And so I forgot how to show up for myself. I'm showing up for everybody else. I'm showing up for friends. I'm showing up for family. I'm showing up for coworkers. I'm showing up for people that I don't know, you know what I'm saying? And I'm helping them, with problems and things like, or at least trying to. I can't sit here and say, every single time that I was able to actually help, but at least I'm trying. I'm putting forth effort and energy to help them fix this, to help them heal this, to help them take care of this. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't doing that for myself, and I did it for so long that when people would come around and ask me, am I okay? Or ask me what's going on, I would get defensive. You know what I'm saying? Instead of embracing it and being like, oh, thank you. Somebody's asking me how I'm doing. I thank you. Somebody cares enough, whether they genuinely want to know how I'm doing or not, they're asking. You know what I'm saying? And instead of looking at that as a good thing, I was looking at that as a negative thing, and I was getting defensive. Like, what you mean? Like, why wouldn't I be okay? And because you just get so used. Well, I got so used to putting everything on the back burner, putting my feelings, my emotions, especially when it was negative things. It was things that made me angry or made me sad or frustrated or whatever. If it was something like dealing with a negative emotion, I did my best to, just put it in the back of my mind and try not to think about it, bury it as deep as I could. And, unfortunately, it started to show up. Those things started to show up in the wrong times, like in my relationship, in my past relationship, in my previous relationship, like all of that stuff that I had buried deep, it started to resurface. And you know what I'm saying? Showing me, it started showing a side of myself that I didn't even know, or I forgot because I'm pushing it down. So I didn't even realize was there. But I'm thankful for it. You know what I'm saying? I do hate, like I always say, I do hate everything that I put my ex through, but I'm just so thankful that we went through all of those things the way that we went through them, because it's helping me get to a better place now, because I was able to, because reality, you know what I'm saying, slapped me in the face a lot of times. And you know what I'm saying? And it had to humble me, you know what I'm saying? Life, God had to humble me, you know what I'm saying? So now that I was in that humbled place, I can start fresh. I can really take a good look at myself, and I can be honest with myself. And so when we was having that conversation and we were talking, in that moment I realized, like, man, that's one of my problems. I just forgot how to be there, how to show up for myself. I forgot how to be there for myself. I forgot that I needed care and I needed love and I needed attention and I needed affection too, because I'm not a very affectionate person. You know what I'm saying? I think that I ran from that because I didn't understand it. And so for the longest time, you know, people who would get too close to me, I would just kind of push them away. I would stay away from them because like I said, it just wasn't familiar to me. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know, like, I didn't feel comfortable with the emotion that it was stirring up inside of me. So it was definitely crazy. It was definitely like a weird thing. And so, if I'm not used to it, I don't want it around. I didn't want it around. So, I definitely failed myself from that standpoint because I wasn't doing what I needed to do for myself. I'm too busy trying to help other people that I'm not taking the time to help myself, to love for myself, to care for myself. And you know, just in the midst of that conversation, I started to realize that about myself. So, I know in the previous episode, I talked about how no matter what it is, if people are giving advice, I'm listening. If people are talking about their experiences, I'm listening, whether it pertains to me or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening because I treat that information, I treat those experiences like gold, because you never know when they'll show up. You know what I'm saying? When those situations or those things will show up in your life. So as we were talking, and he was just telling me about how, you know, he had to go through a lot of things to see people for who they were, to see situations for what they were. And, he had to get to the point to where he had nobody but himself. You know what I'm saying? He lost everything. And you know what I'm saying? And it was like in that moment, he realized that he was neglecting himself. He was neglecting, the main thing, the main person, which was himself. And it took him losing everything and everybody and just being alone to really realize, like, man, I was pouring into everybody else. I was watering everybody else's flowers. I was putting nourishment into everybody else's situations and into everybody else's garden. And I was ignoring my own, you know what I'm saying? And all of my stuff was rotting out, you know what I'm saying? And spoiling and things like that. And it was just like, man, it was really just hitting me like, man, if that ain't me, you know what I'm saying? Um, it just goes to show you, like, I'm gonna say me because I don't want to say we. I'm gonna say me. I talk about how important it is to love yourself and care for yourself, and and it's true. It is important, but I didn't realize how easy it was to neglect yourself because, again, I was never thinking about it. I was just so focused on trying to help other people and trying to uplift people and, just trying to make people smile, make people laugh. Didn't want to see people down and out, you know what I'm saying? Just wanted to always see people smiling. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Now, you realize, like, hey, that's a part of life. You go through some sad moments, you go through tough times, you go through hard situations, you go through things that, you just don't feel like smiling today, you know what I'm saying? Or it's hard for you to smile today. And that's okay. I had to learn that, you know what I'm saying? That's okay. There's also nothing wrong with wanting to cheer your friend up, but it's also okay to understand, like, okay, whatever it is that they're going through is something deep. The best thing I can do for them is just be there for them and listen. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to try to make them smile or make them forget about whatever it is that they're going through. Sometimes just them knowing that, hey, if I need to, DJ's here to listen. Sometimes that's enough. And so I had to also realize that, you know what I'm saying? It ain't you. I don't have to just sit here and make people laugh and try to be a jokester and try to make light or make fun of every situation. Sometimes it's okay to just be there while they just sitting there crying or they just sitting there, contemplating whatever just happened. It's okay just being there and them knowing that when they look to their left, look to their right, they see their friend there. And whenever they're ready to open up, they'll open up. But you know what I'm saying? It's so crazy how easy it is for people to forget to take care of themselves. You know what I'm saying? And the main and another thing might be you don't really know how to love yourself. You don't know how to take care of yourself. Like, yeah, we talk about taking care of yourself on the outside, going to get a haircut, you know what I'm saying, or going to get your hair done, your nails done, your toes, maybe doing some shopping or things like that. You know what I'm saying? That might take care of the outside, but I don't think that enough is talked about how to take care of the inside. You know what I'm saying? How to have real honest conversations with the people around you about the importance of going to therapy, the importance of, expressing how you feel, the importance of healing from old wounds, you know what I'm saying? Whether that's childhood traumas, romantic um, traumas, whatever it is, it's just so important not just to take care of the outside, but to also take care of the inside. It's just as important, maybe even more important, to make sure that you're taking care of yourself from a mental and emotional and spiritual standpoint, and making sure that you're showing up for yourself from those standpoints. Because I think it's easier to show up for yourself from the standpoint of making sure that cosmetically I look good. On the outside it looks good, but on the inside, it's a little harder because you don't always see it. If you can tell when it's time for you to get your hair done. You can tell when it's time to go get your nails done because your nails aren't looking right. You know what I'm saying? You can't always tell, or you may be blind to the fact that you're hurting. You might not know that you're hurting. You might not know that you're being petty. You might not know that you're being insecure. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody's telling you. You know what I'm saying? You think that you're being normal. You think that you're just doing or reacting in a normal way. What you're doing and saying is normal because that may be how what you grew up around, you know what I'm saying, or what you saw in your household, or you know what I'm saying. So it's like, no, this is just how everybody acts. This is how normal people act. This is how we act on a daily basis. So you don't know that, you know, you're being manipulative or you're being deceitful or you're being mischievous. You don't know these things because that's just how you grew up, or that's what you grew up around, and that's what you've seen from like a young age. So you don't know. So on the inside, it's not as easy to see. It's not easy. It's not as easy to know, okay, something's wrong, something's not right. I don't know what it is, but I need to do something. So I think that showing up for yourself, like I said, from an emotional and a mental standpoint, is way more important than, you know, on the outside when it comes to like that self love and that self care. But it's just important on both sides, whether you're doing it for the inside or the outside, whatever it is. It's just important to show up for yourself because it's so easy to get lost in other people, you know what I'm saying? Especially, like I said, when you're someone who wants to or enjoys being there for others, you're happy to be there for others, you're happy helping to take care of other people. It's so easy to lose yourself in other people. It's so easy to lose yourself in their problems. And you know what I'm saying? And now their stress is becoming your stress, and you can't, and it's hard for you to put stuff down because it's hard to put their stuff down because you're so invested in it. But the thing is, you don't realize, well, I know I didn't realize I wasn't making room for my issues. I wasn't making room for my problems, the things that I was going through and how much I was suffering, you know, because number one, I wasn't talking about it. And number two, I was just taking on everybody else's issues, their issues at work, their issues with their significant others, their issues with their kids, their issues with their co-workers. I mean, just everything, you know what I'm saying? I'm taking on all of their issues, and I left myself no room for my issues. And I can't blame them because again, I wasn't speaking up. I wasn't saying, hey, I ain't got it today. Or man, I got my own stuff that I'm going through. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't saying nothing. I'm just sitting here, you know, just being there for them because I'm thinking that's how you be a good friend, is that you're constantly there for them. Whenever they call, you pick up, you know, whatever issues they need, or they need to vent, or whatever it is that they're going through, you're just there for them. No questions asked. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like that's how you be a good friend. And I think that, you know, these past couple of months, that's why I'm so thankful about everything that I've been through, because it's starting to show me like, no, friendships are two-way streets. And number one, I need to do a better job of communicating with people when, you know, I need those breaks, or I need those pauses, or I need that time for myself. I need that mental day. You know, I have to do a better job of that. And, you know, and I have to do a better job of setting those boundaries of like, if I know that you're not serious about fixing whatever the issue is that you got going on, I don't want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? If you're not trying to actively take steps to better that situation, to change that situation, get yourself out of that situation, whatever it is, then I don't want to talk about it, because what's the point? Only thing that you're about to do is frustrate me because you're not doing what you need to do to get out that situation. But yet you want to talk about the situation all day and not fix it, or not do what you need to do to get out of it or to make it better or whatever. So I had to learn how to just, you know, start setting those barriers for myself. And so even in that, even in starting to set up those barriers and starting to speak up for myself more, those are ways that I'm showing up for myself. You know what I'm saying? Those are ways that I'm helping to protect myself, because, you know, I think it's just human nature. I don't think that my friends are bad people. It's just human nature that when people put their hand out or people show you on a consistent basis that they'll be there for you, you just naturally just assume that they're always going to be there. And you naturally assume that they're good or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So you don't always ask, or even when you do ask, you might be like, you know, you might ask them how they're doing. They might be like, man, I'm going through it. And then they, you know what I'm saying? And so even then when you say, hey, I'm going through it, they still might be like, oh man, I tell me, oh, that's tough. Me too. And then they get to going in on their problems. They don't even take the time to, you know, talk to you about whatever it is that you're going through, whatever, has you going through this tough time. So unfortunately, that's how things go. I don't think that they're bad people. I just think that, for a lot of us, when we're going through something, it's hard for us to see past what we're going through to even try to worry about somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been there. I've been there where I'm going through whatever it is that I'm going through, and I can't, or I just don't see past my problems, my issues, to see how the way I'm acting is affecting the next person. You know what I'm saying? So I do understand that it's just tough, you know. And so I don't hold that against my friends, but like I said, I'm doing better at showing up for myself. I'm doing better at making sure that I'm doing what I need to do to help my mental space and to help to help me grow and to help me start to build a better foundation and a better, system around me. And that includes the people around me, because I don't want to continue being drained. I want to find people who want to pour into me just as much as I pour into them, you know. And I want to make sure that I'm finding people who we understand each other, meaning like they understand, like I'm more of a solution based type person. So when we talk about issues and things like that, it's like, okay, you got a problem. Cool. We all got problems in life. We all got problems with work and things like that. But especially now, you know what I'm saying, where I am now, because I'm not going to say act like I've always been like that, but just how I am now. What are we doing to fix that problem? Because again, I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't still have my issues. I still have procrastination issues. You know what I'm saying? I still will procrastinate. I still know that I need to make this phone call. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I'll just sit there and I'll procrastinate. So I'm not going to say act like I'm a finished product, or that I'm perfect, or that I don't have my issues. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely say like procrastination is one of my big things right now that I'm trying to get past, you know what I'm saying, and quit waiting on right before the deadline or right when it's crunch time and things like that to start doing what I need to do. I'm trying to get in that mental space that I'm taking care of things right then and there, so I don't have to wait. So there are things that I'm still working on, but I'm just trying to make sure that I'm also bringing people around me you know, who don't have the exact same issues that I have. Because if I'm around a bunch of people who love to procrastinate, that's not going to help me with my procrastination. If I'm around a bunch of people who, want to be lazy or aren't motivated, that's not going to help me with, me trying to find my motivation or to stay motivated if I'm already motivated. So I'm trying to find people who have strengths that I don't have, so that I can learn from them, study them, start to feed off of them, you know what I'm saying, and help me get to where I need to be. So, and these are all things of how you can start to show up for yourself little by little, is making sure that you understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Okay, do your friends share the same weaknesses as you, or do they have a lot of strengths that are weaknesses for you? Can you feed off of them? You want to make sure that there's a good balance of people around you, your support system. You want to make sure that you have a good balance. You want to make sure that there are people who are good in areas that you're bad in, you know what I'm saying? So that they can see when you for like, so for my example, I would make sure that I have people who don't like to procrastinate, who like to get stuff done. So when they see me procrastinating, they can call me out on it, and they can, let me know, hey, you back to procrastinating, you back to doing stuff that you don't need to be doing. Let's go ahead and get this done. Let's go ahead and make this phone call. Let's go ahead and do this, do that. Because I don't know why I have such a phobia or issue of being on the phone and talking to people on the phone, making appointments, things like that. I just do not like it. It is a I don't know what it is. I couldn't even say. I just do not like being on the phone. So, it's good to know that I have people in my corner who know this, and who be sending me a text message, hey, you made that call yet? Hey, you checked into this shit? Hey, you've done that. So I'm actively trying to make sure that I'm putting people in place and putting things in place to help me with my procrastination and to help me with my whatever it is, because I don't want to say phobia, but whatever it is that's making me struggle to get on the phone with people and set appointments and things like that. Um, because it has been a hindrance to me, and it has put me in situations where I may have missed out on things. So, that's one thing that I am doing, is just doing a better job of putting better people, or putting people who fit where I'm trying to go. I'm doing a better job of putting those people in positions, or putting them in my areas of life that are helping to propel me to where I'm trying to be, as opposed to trying to hold on to the same old people who do the same old things. And you know what I'm saying? And I know that I'm not getting anywhere, and I know the importance of your village and the importance of your support system, and how having the wrong person in place can hinder you a lot, as opposed to having nobody there. So, you know what I'm saying? So I would much rather have nobody in a certain spot than have the wrong person. So that's why, for me, when I say showing up for myself, that's another piece for me, is making sure that I'm putting the right type of people in places to help me. So I know that where I lack, they have a lot of strength in those areas where I lack, so they can help, what I'm saying, pick me up when I'm going through that lull, or when I'm going through that downfall, or they see me getting ready to spiral and go down a path that they know isn't going to be productive for me, or is going to lead me to a bunch of places I've already been. I've already been. So for me, just showing up for myself, it looks it looks different. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just about therapy. It's not just about um talking about my emotions, and talking about my feelings, and talking about how this person made me feel, that person feel. It's also just as important about making sure that I have the right people around me, the right support systems, the right motivators, the right people, you know what I'm saying, continuing to push me when I'm ready to stop. When I feel like, okay, I'm in a good place and now I'm starting to get complacent, I'm making sure that I have the right people, you know what I'm saying, continuing to motivate me, continuing to push me, continuing to encourage me to keep moving forward, to keep pressing on, and to keep reminding me of the dangers of standing still, you know what I'm saying, and those traps that could be waiting on me every time I stop moving, you know what I'm saying, even if it's just 1 inch forward or whatever, even if I gotta crawl, whatever, just keep moving forward, keep pushing towards whatever it is that you want. So that's, those are just some of the ways that I'm learning how to show up for myself. It ain't just about, like, what I'm saying, having those spa days and stuff like that. It's about making sure that you're showing up for your inner self and your outer self. I think that, when we talk about self-care and self-love, we do talk a lot about the outer stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like the inner stuff is just as important. Making sure that you're showing up for yourself emotionally and mentally are just as important as making sure that you look good, you know what I'm saying? And that you know what I'm saying? Looking good is important, but feeling good is also important. So make sure that you start showing up for yourself, um, on both sides of it. Making sure that you're showing up for yourself on the outside, because I know um, when you know what I'm saying, you look good, you feel good, so it's important to make sure that you're showing up for yourself on the outside, but it's just as important. Do not forget about making sure that you take care of yourself mentally and emotionally, taking care of that pain, taking care of that trauma, taking care of, all the negative energy around you. You know what I'm saying? Taking care of getting rid of all the people who bring out a lot of the negative emotions in you, because even if you're doing your best to heal, even if you're doing your best to process things, even if you're doing your best to get over those mountains and those hurdles of, the traumas from your childhood and all of these things, if you keep in those people who don't do nothing but draw the negative out of you, or bring all the negative, up to the surface, you know what I'm saying? You're doing yourself a disservice, so you got to start making sure, and you got to be honest with yourself about the people around you. Stop looking at it like, oh, this person has been here my whole life, or this person's been around for so long, and start looking at what purpose this person serves. Does this person bring out negative things in you, or does this person bring out positive things in you? And and just have an honest conversation with yourself, because doing the work is important. I'm not telling you not to do the work. You have to do the work, but you also have to make sure that the people around you are supporting the work. You know what I'm saying? You can't be doing all this work and doing all this good and doing all this healing, but you're keeping these people around you who are holding you in this place of hurt, or who are holding you in this place of procrastination, or holding you in this place of whatever. You got to start getting rid of those people too while you're doing the work. But hopefully while you're doing the work, you start to see these people for who they are and for what they represent. And you start to slowly let those people go, so that you can start to ascend and get to, those levels of greatness that, you're destined to be at. But, that's today's episode, man. And I just want to thank everybody for listening on whatever platforms you're listening on. And for all my people watching on YouTube, y'all already know, like, comment, subscribe, and share, please. And I just want to thank y'all for taking this time to listen to the episode. And I hope that y'all have a blessed day.